Alright, what is up guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be reading more As I Lay Dying by 𝘋𝘺𝘪. And yeah, you may notice that I'm on a different user interface here, a little bit different. It's on Ocular now, and I'm actually on Arch Linux because I didn't want to get up and sit at my desk to record, so we're going to just read it here. Also, you might notice that this is no longer an EPUB file, but it's a PDF. Because I also thought that the EPUB I was using was fine, but also that I couldn't easily get between the... It's not as easy to save the edits and stuff because you have to go and like upload the flow file from different computers, whereas this, it's just one single file that you can save. Also, I like the fact that you could annotate more. I mean, it's not really important here, but it's just cooler, right? I mean, yeah. Also, the text is a little bit easier to read for me because it's not as crammed. So, yeah, I mean, I know I'm capable of changing that on the EPUB thing, but then it just gets annoying between versions, like I said, because it doesn't always save. But this is always the same. Anyway, we are on Jules' part, so we just finished Darl's where he was talking about the horse, and now we're on Jules'. I wanted to see if... Did I have this thing highlighted? Oh, I did. Wow, that's interesting. I actually have it annotated here, and it shows that I did it, but I didn't do this one, did I? Oh, I did. Does it have that? Wow, it actually has the thing. It actually saved it from my preview on macOS. That's crazy. It's kind of cool because sometimes the annotations between devices, between PDF viewers, like between where you can annotate and stuff and like editors, it's not always the same. Sometimes it's just like, I don't know, like the annotations show up as nothing, or they show up but they're not like documented like here. But these are actually like fully like with the username and everything, right? So it has my name and then it has highlight, and so I can see I highlighted here. You double click and there's the annotation, which I did it on my Mac, but I actually have the same PDF file on the thing, so it's exactly the same, but the fact that it actually got the annotations is nice. I mean, I expected that. I wouldn't, it's not like there's that much difference, but yeah, these are not that crazy. It's just a highlight, but I would expect it to save. But yeah, we're already done with this chapter. We're gonna go down here. It should save then if I make more, because it's pretty much the same kind of tools. It's just highlighting. So if I click here on this side, I go to cyan, and I highlight here. Can I add a text box? Oh, I can. Oh, and it says Arch instead because I'm the user. Hello, world. So it probably saves. Okay, cool. So let's keep reading. Let's see. It says, it's because he's... Oh, this is Jewel. It's because he stays out there, right under the window, hammering and sawing on that goddamn box. Where she's got to see him, where every breath she draws is full of his knocking and sawing, where she can see him saying, See what a good one I am making for you? I told him to go somewhere else. I said, good God, do you want to see her in it? It's like when he was a little boy and she says if she had some fertilizer she would try to raise some flowers, and he'd taken the bread pan and brought it from the barn, full of dung. Very literal. Okay. And now them others sitting there like buzzards. What? And now them others sitting there like buzzards, waiting, fanning themselves. Because I said if you wouldn't keep on sawing and nailing at it until a man can't sleep, even, and her hands laying on the quilt like two of them roots dug up and tried to wash, and you couldn't get them clean. I can see the fan in Dewey Dell's arm. I said if you just let her alone, sawing and knocking, and keeping the air always moving so fast on her face that when you're tired, you can't breathe it. And that goddamn ad's going one lick less, until everybody that passes in the road will have to stop and see it, and say, what a fine carpenter he is. If it had just been me when Cash fell off that church, and if it had just been me when Pa laid sick with that load of wood fell on him, it would not be happening with every bastard in the country coming in to stare at her, because if there is a God, what the hell is he for? It would just be me on her It would just be me and her on a high hill, and me rolling the rocks down the hill at their faces, picking them up and throwing them down the hill, faces and teeth, and all by God until she was quiet and not that goddamn ads going one lick less, and we could be quiet. Okay, Jewel. Why does it... every time I click on it... Okay, so it seems like he does not like the fact that they are all... especially that he's doing the thing. I think it's Cash that's doing the... He's, like, using the blade and, like, doing the carving. And he says... I said, good God, do you want her to see her in it, right? So, it's kind of interesting. If you don't really know these characters yet, but they already have some different views on this situation, I guess. And also right here, like buzzards waiting. Because I said if you wouldn't keep on sawing and nailing at it until a man can't sleep, even and her hands laying on the quote like two of them roots dug up. What does that even mean? Wait. Her hands are laying on the quilt like two of them roots dug up. Maybe her hands are all like wrinkled and old so they look like roots. I don't know. I'm making it up. And tried to wash and you couldn't get them clean. Or maybe because they're dirty. I don't know. I can see the fan in Dewey Dell's arm. Who the fuck is Dewey Dell? I said if you just let her alone, sawing and knocking, keeping the air always moving so fast on her face that when you're tired you can't breathe it, and that goddamn ad's going one lick less, one lick less, one lick less. If it had just been me when Cash fell off that church, and if it had just been me when Pa laid sick with the load of wood, it would not be happening with every bastard in country to come and stare at her, because if there was a God, what the hell is he for? It would just be me on her in the high hill. Okay, wait, let's look at the... not the ad. Let's look at the summary to see if it does any details. It probably won't, but it would probably just say he's, like, contemplating Cash's behavior. I don't know. Sometimes the summaries are really good, and other times they're just, like, way too vague and way too simplistic. And so it's like when I was reading Crime and Punishment, that shit was ass. Like, it literally only went, like... It did, like... the events that happened, and that was it. Like, nothing of like whatever was going on inside of the narration, I guess. I mean, I guess that makes sense. It's not really the narration, but damn, like there was all this stuff. Okay, so it says Jewel thinks with bitterment and revenge about Cass insisting on constructing Addie's coffin right outside her window. For allowing Cash to proceed, he breaks his wish to be alone with his mother. Okay, that's pretty much what I got from that. Yeah, that's not really... If it would just be me on her high hill, picking them up. So it says he wants to be alone. And also right here where it says... yeah, okay. Let's keep going. Darl. We watch him come around the corner and mount the steps. He does not look at us. You ready, he says. If you're hitched up, I say. I say, wait. He stops, looking at Pa. Vernon spits without moving. He spits with decorous, and deliberate precision. Into the pocket, what? Can't read. Into the pocket dust below the porch. Pa rubs his hand slowly on his knees. He is gazing out beyond the crest of the bluff, out across the land. Jewel watches him in a moment. Then he goes on to the pail and drinks again. I mislike undecision as much as a man. It means $3, I say. Wait. I don't like undecision as much as before a man. Okay. It means $3, I say. The shirt across Pa's hump is faded, lighter than the rest of it. There is no sweat stain on his shirt. I have never seen a sweat stain on his shirt. He was sick once from working in the sun when he was 20 years old, and he tells people that if he ever sweats, he'll die. I suppose he believes it. But if she don't last until you get back, he says, she will be very disappointed. Not very disappointed, but disappointed. Vernon spits in the dust. But it will rain before morning. She counted on it, Pa says. She'll want to start tied away. I know her. I promised her I'd keep the team here and ready, and she's counting on it. We'll need $3 then, sure, I say. He gazes out over the land, rubbing his hands on his knees. Since he lost his teeth, his mouth collapses in a slow repetition when he dips. The stubble gives his lower face that appearance that old dogs have. You better make up your mind soon, so we can get there and get a load on before dark, I say. Ma ain't that sick, Jewel says. Shut up, Darrell. That's right, Vernon says. She seems more like herself today than she has in a week. Time you and Jewel get back, she'll be sitting up. You ought to know, Jewel says. You've been here often enough looking at her, you or your folks. Vernon looks at him. Jewel's eyes look like a pale wood in his high-blooded face. He's a head taller than any of the rest of us, always was. I told him that's why Mom always whipped him and petted him more. Wait a minute, that's Jewel. Wasn't that the one we just... Yeah, okay. Because he was peekling around the house more. That's why she named him Jewel, I told him. Shut up, Jewel, Pa says. But as though he is not listening much, he gazes out across the land, rubbing his knees. You could borrow the loan of Vernon's team and we could catch up with you, I say, if she didn't wait for us. Ah, shut your goddamn mouth, Jewel says. She'll want to go in Arn. Wait, this is... She'll want to go in Arn. Don't a man mislike it more. Ear or air? I read that as air because that's like Shakespeare language, which means before, but that's probably not what it means here. Do not ere a man mislike it more. What the fuck? Okay, I gotta look that up. That's weird. Wait, do not before a man mislike it more. That's not what it means. Wait. He says it up here too, wait. I don't like undecision. Okay. Just keep going. It's laying there, watching Cash whittle on that dam, Jewel says. He says it harshly, savagely, but he does not say the word, like a little boy in the dark, to flail his courage, and suddenly aghast into silence by his own noise. She wanted that like she wants to go in our own wagon, Pa says. She'll rest easier for knowing it's a good one. And private. She was ever a private woman, you know it well. Then let it be private, Jewel says. But how the hell can you expect it to be? He looks back at the back of Pa's head, his eyes like pale wooden eyes. I feel like they described him with wooden eyes before. Yeah, 'cause it was literally Darrell that was the first chapter. Show, Vernon says. She'll hold on till it's finished. She'll hold on till everything's ready till her own good time. And with the roads like they are now, it won't take you no time to get her to town. It's fixing up to rain, Pa says. I am a luckless man I've ever been. He rubs his hands on his knees. It's that darn doctor, liable to come at any time. I couldn't get word to him till so late. If he was to come tomorrow and tell her that the time was nigh, she wouldn't wait. I know her. Wagon or no wagon, she wouldn't wait. Then she'd be upset, and I wouldn't upset her for the living world. With that family burying ground in Jefferson, and them of her blood waiting her sleep. Wait, oh my God. And them of her blood waiting for her there, she'll be impatient. I promised my word me and the boys would get her there as quick as mules could walk it, so she could rest quiet. He rubs her hands on his knees. Her hands on his knees? Why can't I read this so bad? He rubs his hands on his knees again. So he says, and I wouldn't upset her for the living world with that family burying ground in Jefferson, and then her blood waiting for her there. She'll be impatient. Wait. Could have sworn. With that family burying ground in Jefferson, and them of her blood waiting for her there, she'll be impatient. I promised my word me and the boys would get her there as quick as mules could walk it, so she could rest quiet. No man ever misliked it more. If everybody wasn't burning hell to get her there, Jewel says in that harsh, savage voice, with Cash all day long and night under the window, hammering and sawing at that. It was her wish, Pa says. You got no affection nor gentleness for her. You never have. We would be beholden to no man. Me and her, we have never yet been, and she will rest quieter for knowing it, and that it was her own blood that sawed. Wait, oh my God! And she will rest quieter for knowing it, and that it was her own blood that sawed out the boards and drove the nails. She was ever one to clean up after herself. It means $3. Do you want us to go or not? Pa rubs his knees. We'll be back by tomorrow sundown. Well, Pa says. He looks out over the land. Ooh, awry, not airy. Awry-haired, mouthing the snuff slowly against his gums. Come on, Jewel says. He goes down to the steps. Vernon spits neatly into the dust. By sundown now, Pa says. I would not keep her waiting. Jewel glances back, then he goes around the house. I enter the hall, hearing the voices before I reach the door. Tilting a little down the hill, as our house does, a breeze draws through the hall all the time, upslanting. A feather dropped near the front door will rise and brush along the ceiling, slanting backward until it reaches the downturning current at the back door. So with voices, as you enter the hall, they sound as though they are speaking out of the air about your head. Jesus, what is that? Not too bad. It's a little long. But hold on. Let's go back. So we watch him come. Probably Pa. Let's be honest. He does not look at us. You ready? He says, if you hitched up. So basically, wait, no, that's not Pa. Where are they going? It means $3. The shirt across. Okay. But if she don't last until you get back, she'll be disappointed. What is? She counted on it. She'll want to start right away. I know her. I promised her I'd keep the team here and ready, and she's counting on it. What? Ma ain't that sick. Shut up, Darl. That's right. She seems more like herself today. Time you and Jewel get back, she'll be setting up. You ought to know. You've been here often enough to look at her. You are your own folks. Jewel's eyes look like a pale, high-blooded. His head taller. That's why she named him Jewel. Shut up, Jewel. Huh, what is going on? Wait, how the fuck are you even supposed to get this? Like, I'm sorry. What? Like, does it ever say that they're tall? It says Dar talks about how he and Jewel are making a delivery trip. They are running. Okay, sure, yeah. Are you ready? Yeah, sure. I kind of get that, right? But then it says for Tool, who's going to pay them $3. I did not. Where does it say $3? Well, where does it say Tool is going to pay them $3? It means $3. The shirt across. Does it say Toll anywhere? Wait, what? Was it in chorus section? Toll says. Well, Toll is the. Toll wagon sends me. Oh. Maybe this? Shit, does it even tell you who Toll is? It's like probably super hidden. Because like it's fucking, you gotta pay so much more attention than any other book. Seriously, you will be like, I don't know what it is. Even if you pay attention, you'll still be confused. But even more so. Wait, It's there somewhere. Hold on. It would be black. Where I started away the dipper. Yep. Paul and Vernon are sitting on the back porch. Eat. Okay, so it's kind of the same thing. Okay, so let's see. Tool's gonna pay them $3. Ansei which is Pa. Ansei is hesitant to let them go, and he is worried that Addie will die before Jewel and Darl return. Sorry, that's my nose. Before they return with a team of horses, Tool reassures them about Addie. Where the fuck is Tool? Wait, Tool in here? What? Vernon? Oh, wait, Vernon is Toll, right? I'm not fucking dumb. Wait, no, he's not. Is he really? Wait. Vernon. No shot. Did I miss that the first time I looked at this book? Wait, what the fuck? What the fuck? Wait. It doesn't say Toll anywhere. Or it does, but... Vernon Spitz. Paul and Vernon are... Oh, it's gonna spoil something. No. Oh, yep. It's fucking Vernon Toll. Dude, I did not know it was fucking... Oh my god. That's Toll. So Vernon is not some other guy. It's Toll. It's the same person. Toll reassures them about Addie, and Jewel lashes out at him for his intrusiveness. Because Vernon says... Mind that sick. Shut up, Darl. She seems more like herself today. No, this is when he says she seems more like herself today. Can we highlight, please? Thank you. And then he says, Till reassures them, and then Laddie, yep. So this is this. It's so laggy. I probably shouldn't even use this because it's too laggy. Alright, she seems more like herself today than she has in a week. Time you and Jewel get back, she'll be setting up. You could borrow the loan a bit. What? By applauding the family's fortitude and following Addie's last wishes. Where does Pa say, I'm glad they're filling up their wish? I guess right here. She'll rest easier. That right there. Then he says, then she'd be upset, and I wouldn't be upset. With the family buried in Jefferson and her blood waiting for her there, she'll be impatient. I promise my word. Okay, that's kind of more of that. And the one last thing I saw was, she did it like that. It was her wish. Yep. She was ever wanting to clean after herself. Yeah, so that's it. As Darl enters the house, he reflects on how the voices travel in the hallway. They sound as though they were speaking out of the air above your head. Darl enters the house and reflects on the voices in the hallways. Okay, cool. Done. That's 2 chapters. And it's like super short, but yeah. Cora! So this is the neighbor's wife, I guess. Neighbor's wife, which is, I guess, Vernon? So Cora is the one who was baking the cakes last time, and she was like, "Fuck, they don't want them." And then they're like, "Why don't they want them?" And blah blah blah. Okay. It was the sweetest thing I ever saw. It was like knew he would never see her again. That Anson Brundren was driving him from his mother's deathbed, never to see her in this world again. I always said Darl was different from those others. I always said he was the only one of them that had his mother's nature, had any natural affection. Not that Jewel, she labored so to bear and coddled and petted so, him flinging into the tantrums or sulking spells, inventing devilment to devil her, so I would have failed him time and time. Not him to come and tell her goodbye. Not him to miss a chance to make that extra $3 at the price of his mother's goodbye kiss. A Brundren through, loving nobody, caring for nothing except how to get something with the least amount of work. Mr. Toll says Mr. Toll says Darl asked them to wait. He said Darl almost begged them on his knees not to force him to leave her in her condition. But nothing would do but Ansay and Jewel must make that $3. Nothing that knows Ansay could have expected different. But to think of that boy, that Jewel, selling all those years of self-denial and downright partiality. They couldn't tool me. Mr. Toll says Mrs. Brundren liked Jewel the least of all. But I knew better. I knew she was partial to him, to the same quality in him that let her put up with Ansay Brundren when Mr. Toll said she ought to poison him. For $3, denying his mother the goodbye kiss. Why, for the last 3 weeks... Dude, my computer's cooked, bro. It's just like, look at that, 100% CPU usage, 100% memory usage almost. What the fuck is going on? I'm barely reading. Whatever. Why, for the last 3 weeks I have been coming over every time I could, coming sometimes when I shouldn't have, neglecting my own family and duties so that somebody would be with her in her last moments, and she would not have to face the great unknown with one familiar face to give her courage. Without one familiar face. Jeez. Not that I deserve credit for it. I will expect the same myself. But thank God it will be the faces of my loved kin, my blood and flesh, for in my husband and children I have been more blessed than most. Trials though they have been at times. She lived, a woman, trying to make folks believe different, hiding the fact that they just suffered for her. Because she was not cold in the coffin before they were carting her 40 miles away to bury her. She's not dead, basically, right? Jeez, that's sad. They're literally like, alright, well, guess she's gone, let's go. Pack up your stuff, we're out of here. And this motherfucker is still breathing. Like, jeez. Carting her 40 miles away to bury her, flouting the will of God to do it. Refusing to let her lie in the same earth with those Brundrens. But she wanted to go, Mr. Toll said. It was her own wish to lie among her own people. Then why didn't she go alive? I said. Not one of them would have stopped her, with even that little one, almost old enough not to be selfish and stone-hearted like the rest of them. Who's the little one? I want to say it's Vardaman, but I'm not going to spoil anything. But it's probably not. It's probably somebody else, but I swear that was like the one that was like the most confusing chapter too, because he has a weird quote in there. Alright. It was our own wish. Oh wait, I already read that. Oh wait, I didn't read that. It was her own wish, Mr. Toll said. I heard Ansay say it. I wouldn't, and would you believe Ansay, of course, I said. A man like you would. And you would believe him. I can't read for some reason. I said. I can't read, because I'm a dumbass, I said. A man like you would. Don't tell me. I'd believe him about something he couldn't expect to make anything off of me by not telling. I'd believe him about something he couldn't expect to make anything off of me by not telling, Mr. Toll said. Don't tell me, I said. A woman's place is with her husband and her children, alive or dead. Would you expect me to go back to Alabama and leave you and the girls when my time comes? That I left of my own will to cast my lot with yours for better and worse until death and after? Well, folks are different, he said. I should hope so. I have tried to live right in the sight of God and man, for the honor and for the sight of God and man, for the honor and comfort of my Christian husband, and the love and respect for our Christian children, so that when I lay me down in the consciousness of my duty and reward, I will be surrounded by loving faces, carrying the farewell kiss of each of my loved ones into my reward. Not like Addie Bundren dying alone, hiding her pride in her broken heart, glad to go, lying there with her head propped up so she could watch Cash building the coffin, having to watch him so he would not skimp on it. Okay. And of course it's lagging to shit, so I don't know if it'll even... Ooh, will it work? Come on, you can do it. Come on. I know you... Come on. Did it crash? Come on, do it. Don't crash. It's probably SparkNotes taking up all this memory. Oh, I can't even scroll anymore. What the hell? Wait. I just scrolled. Are we back? Stop going to 100, idiot! Oh my gosh, please. Okay, never highlight again, I guess. Jeez, I just maxed out my computer's resource usage. Like, it just fucking used up everything. Okay, like as not, with those men not worrying about anything except if there was time to earn another $3 before the rain came and the river got too high to get across it. Like as not, if they hadn't decided to make that last load, they would have loaded into the wagon on a quilt and crossed the river first, and then stopped and give her time to die, what Christian death they would let her. Except Darl. It is the sweetest thing I ever saw. Sometimes I lose faith in human nature for a time. I am assailed by doubt, but always the Lord restores my faith and reveals to me his bounteous love for his creatures. Not Jewel, the one she always cherished, not him. He was after that extra $3. It was Darl, the one that folks say is queer, lazy, pottering about the place no better than Ansay, with Cash a good carpenter, and always more building than he can get around to, and Jewel always doing something that made him some money, or got him talked about. And that near naked girl always standing over Addie with the fan, so that every time a body tried to talk to her or cheer him up, would answer for her right quick, like she was trying to keep anybody from coming near her at all. I don't know if they described that girl in the other chapter. They probably did, I just forgot. But yeah. It was Darl. He came to the door, and I can't fucking see. It was Darl. He come to the door and stood there, looking at his dying mother. He just looked at her, and I felt the bounteous love of the Lord again and his mercy. I saw that with Jewel she had been just pretending, but that it was between her and Darl that the understanding and the true love was. He just looked at her, not even coming in where she could see him and get upset, knowing that Ansay was driving him away, and he would never see her again. He said nothing, just looking at her. "What you want, Darl?" Dewey Dell said, not stopping the fan. Okay, so that is the near naked girl. Okay, so let me... Dewey Dell. There we go. Kapow. "What you want, Darl?" Speaking up quick, keeping even him from her. He didn't answer. He just stood and looked at his dying mother, his heart too full for words. This is all her interpretation, right? I mean, he could be thinking, fuck this, I'm glad she's dead. Like, you don't even know, right? I mean, probably not, but this is from the point of view of Cora, not from Darl. So we don't know how Darl feels until, well, maybe he does show how he feels, but, you know, she's the one who's described him most, right? Jewel is an asshole, Darl is the good one. Okay, Dewey Dell. Oh god, this is another long... Oh, it's short, okay. I'll probably read Dewey Dells and then stop because, I want to break this up into a bunch of little parts. It's not a long book by any means, but the more I read it, the more it's going to, like, be boring. So, like, the more it's going to be boring in terms of the video, it's going to be too long. But, like, look, it's only, like, 25 to 210. It's short, right? So we can read it in, like, maybe a week. Anyway, Dewey Dell. The first time me and Leif picked on down the row. What? Who's Lafe or Leif? I don't know how to pronounce that. I promise I might be pronouncing it wrong. I'm sorry if I am. Pod descent because... Oh, Pod doesn't. What? What is descent? Maybe doesn't? Doesn't? I don't know. Pa doesn't sweat because he will catch his death from the sickness. So everybody that comes to help us. And Jewel doesn't care about anything. He is not kin to us and caring, not care kin. Oh wow, that's 2 people saying that. Her and Cora now dissing Jewel. Okay, that's got to mean something. Not kin to us and caring, not care kin. And Cash likes sawing the long, hot, sad yellow days up into planks and nailing them to something. And Pa thinks because neighbors will always treat one another that way because he has always been too busy letting neighbors do for him to find out. And I did not think that Dar would. That sits at the supper table with his eyes gone further than the food and the lamp, full of the land dug out of his skull and the holes filled with distance beyond the land. We picked on down the road, the woods getting closer and closer, and the secret shade, picking on into the secret shade with my sack and Leif's sack. Because I said, will I or won't I, when the sack was half full, because I said, if the sack is full when we got to the woods, it won't be me. I said, if it don't mean for me to do it, the sack will not be full, and I will turn up the next row. But if the sack is full, I cannot help it. What the fuck am I reading? Hold on. Because I said, will I or won't I, when the sack was half full. Because I said, if the sack is full when we get to the woods, it won't be me. I said, if I don't mean for me to do it, the sack will not be full. And I will turn up the next row. But if the sack is full, I cannot help it. What does that mean? Wait. It sounds like a bunch of words. So is he saying, when the sack is half full, wait, won't I? Because if the sack is full, when we get to the woods, it won't be me. You'll be doing that, though. It said, if it don't mean for me to do it, the sack will not be full, and I will turn up the next row, but if the sack is full, I can't help it. It will be that I had to do it. What? It will be that I have to do it. That I had to do it all the time, and I cannot help it. And we picked on toward the secret shade, and our eyes were drawn together, touching on his hands and my hands, and I didn't say anything. I said, what are you doing? And he said, I'm picking into your sack, and so I was full when we came to the end of the row, and I could not help it. And so it was because I could not help it. It was then. What? It was then. End. Period. What the I'm sorry, I just had to stop for a second. This literally... Okay, hold on. Maybe this is not how this is supposed to be. Let me get rid of this, because maybe... what the Oh, please. Oh, no, I just lagged out the computer again. Fuck. No, I didn't do it right. No, I didn't do it right. Okay, maybe I didn't. Okay. This might be a bad idea. No, I'm not going to do it. I was going to open up Flow. It's probably going to crash the computer. So we'll see what that means later on. And so it was because I could not help it. It was then. And then I saw Darl and he knew. He said he knew without the words. Like he told me that Ma's going to die without words. And I knew he knew. Because if I had said he knew with the words, I would not have believed that he had been there and saw us. But he said he didn't know. He did know. And I said, are you going to tell Pa? Are you going to kill him? Without the words, I said, and he said, why, without the words? And that's why I can talk to him without knowing him, with hating, because he knows. And that's why I can talk to him without knowing, with hating, because he knows. The fuck does that even mean? And that's why I can talk to him without with knowing, with hating. He stands in the door looking at her. What you want, Darl, I say. She's gonna die, he says. An old turkey buzzard told... And old turkey buzzard toll coming to watch her die, but I can fool them. When is she gonna die? I said, before we get back. He says, then why are you taking Jewel? I say, I want him to help me load, I guess. What the fuck is this saying, bro? I don't know what it's saying. I'll save this because I want to save it as my PDF because I just need to save it. And then we're going to open up Flow and see what's going on with this fuck-ass book because what... So Laffey is a worker on the Bundren farm. She had been heading towards the woods with him, but he was nervous. Wait. Finally, however, they slept together because Dewey Dill could not help it. What? That's what it is? It says they slept together because Dewey Dill could not help it. Wait, where the fuck does it say she did that? Will I or won't I when the sack was half full? Because I said, the sack is full. When we get to the woods, it won't be me. I said, if it don't mean for me to do it, the sack will not be full. And I will turn up the next row but if the sack is full, I cannot help it. It will be that I had to do it all the time and I cannot help it. And we picked on toward the secret shade and our eyes would drown together, touching it on his hands and my hands. And I didn't say, oh. I said, what are you doing? And he said, I am picking into your sack. What the fuck? Dude, what? No, oh my god. You can maybe figure it out on your own, but that is really hard to do. Maybe I could try to just read this book without looking up anything. That'd be really fun. And also really painful because nothing would make sense. Because like I just read, right? It just doesn't make fucking any sense. Like, where do you get that she slept with him? Maybe this part, and we picked on towards the secret shade, and then blah blah blah. But even that's really vague. It's all implied. You can't... That's like the other Sound and the Fury. Bullshit. Okay, well, that's basically it for this video. I appreciate you for watching. I appreciate it if you watched all the way. This is kind of hard, but that's okay, because we'll get through it eventually. We'll figure this out. Yeah, thank you for watching.